Give me a hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah, because it's time to review the Stone Cold Steve Austin documentary on A&E. What? That's right. We are going to talk about it, so let's dive in, shall we? All right, let's get down to the basics. Obviously, Stone Cold, underrated career in WCW, which sadly Eric Bischoff just did not see the talent that he had right in front of him. But then again, he didn't see the talent he had right in front of him when it came to Benoit and Malenko and Rey Mysterio and Chris Jericho. So why is it any surprise that Stone Cold was considered not marketable? But hey, the WWF went ahead and took him, and of course they had the ringmaster along with a lot of terrible names. Once he came up with the idea about wanting to be like Richard Kuklinski, Fang McFrost, Chili McFreeze, Ice Dagger, Snowman. But Austin managed to gut it out and ended up becoming Stone Cold Steve Austin, specifically because of his wife, who said, "Make sure you drink this tea before it gets stone cold." So, shout out to Austin's ex-wife. My apologies for that British accent. Anyways, so obviously that happens, and then he wins the King of the Ring. He cuts that promo. Austin 316 says, "I just whip your ass," which Austin 316, that came not just only from Jake's promos being religious at the time, but because John 316 was what he saw behind the field goals when Austin was playing football. So that's where he came up with that. And of course, it's the hottest shirt to sell to this day in WWE. And then we go right into 1997, where Austin actually doesn't break his neck. It's more of a spinal problem, but he did get surgery on it. And that was definitely a moment where Owen was not really on good terms with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you can't really blame him. But which obviously is even more sad, because Austin kind of had that grudge until '99 when Owen passed. And then Austin has the iconic feud with Mr. McMahon, and he is driving a Zamboni. He's stunning him every which way, specifically right in the grapefruits, because Austin always wore shorts and he couldn't kick that high, couldn't kick his gut. So Vince was always getting a kick below the belt, not here. But it just eventually just got to be too much for Steve. Well, not exactly too much. And obviously, as Steve went on to become the legend that we know him as today, it also involved a lot of sacrifice from his family, and to the point where his daughter didn't sound the same, despite the fact that she was, in Texas with him and sounded just like him. But then, all of a sudden goes to London and totally different personality. And just the fact that Steve Austin cried, and just knowing that, as much as that's his kid, and I mean, how else would you feel to know, like, your daughter, it's not even just like the voice, but you just feel like, you're losing her, you're losing a part of her. And then we have, but eventually, but of course, with making Stone Cold the legend that we know him as today, he would go from Vince McMahon to The Rock, and that would cultivate into some of the iconic WrestleMania match, the WrestleMania trilogy, WrestleMania 15, then WrestleMania 17, and then WrestleMania 19. But of course, 2002 wasn't really the best time for Stone Cold either, because they just didn't really have anything for him except for Brock Lesnar. But they were just going to have him lose anyway with no real build-up. And Austin, as the tale goes, took his ball and went home. But he obviously managed to bounce back after that and had, once again, 3 iconic matches with The Rock, specifically at WrestleMania. And then after that, still to this day, Austin has never gotten back into the ring ever again. Now, I'm well aware that there are some things that I missed. People are probably be in the comments being like, you forgot to mention about how Austin was in the Dallas Sportatorium and the USWA in Memphis, and not to mention he also went to ECW, talking about the fact that he was fired from ECW and even wrestled there for a while, and then he went to the WWE. Look, I will go into a few more details in the comments in the description below, as I always do, but easily, once again, the best documentary out of them all. Stone Cold, no matter what happened, of course, also with like the controversy with Deborah and whatnot, which he also explains once again in this book. Definitely a great read. He's easily one of my favorites, and is certainly the king of the Attitude Era. And that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold said so.